All right, number 5. We've done algebra, okay? It works for equations and inequalities. It's the same thing basically. An equation where I have a variable, a letter. I don't know what it means, what number it is, so I'm going to use a letter. So I did a bunch of these where I use the same letter and number for everything. So if I have x plus 7 equals 10, and then I do x minus 7 equals 10, and then I do, so let's do those first because then I'll show you the inequality. What you do is you have to do what's called inverse operations. Inverse. An operation is plus, minus, times, or divide. So this is plus. What's the opposite of that? I want to get x by itself. I want to have x equals what? Okay. So this is x plus 7. The opposite is minus 7. That's the inverse operation. Whatever you do to one side, got to do to the other side. So 10 minus 7 is 3. I know you can do that in your head, but the algebra is going to get tricky and more complicated. You need to show your baby steps. So then x minus 7, you do the opposite, which is plus 7. Whatever you do to one side, you do to both sides. Therefore, x equals, I didn't really do it, but see, they cancel each other out. X plus 7 minus 7 equals 0, so the 7s are gone over here. Now I just have x equals 10 plus 7 is 17. Okay. On the other side, let's do times and divide. So let's do 7x equals, oh, I have to change it. That number's not going to work. I change it to 70. And then I'll do x over 7 equals 70. These people start to see and think things in their head subliminally, and they get the wrong answer. So please show your baby step. I am doing algebra because there's letters. The letters are an unknown thing. To solve for the letter, I need to get it by itself. So it says x equals. How do you get rid of numbers or move them? You do the opposite. We jokingly call algebra opposite day inverse operations. Well, what operation is this? Is this x plus 7? People freeze. I don't know what is that. Well, that means 7 times x. Okay. There's one cookie. There's 7 cookies. We don't say 7 times one cookie. We just say 7 desks, 7 cookies, $7, whatever. I don't know what X is right now, but there's 7 of them. 7 times whatever that is. Well, now to find out what X is, I have to do opposites, inverse operations. So the opposite of times is divide. So 7, or I can say it this way, X times 7 divided by 7. I'm canceling each other out, right? So you got X equals 10. This is the one everybody misses. Is that x minus 7? No. They freeze. I'm like, well, what is it? Is it x plus 7? No. Is it x times 7? Maybe. Is that how we write x times 7? No. So you only got 4 choices for what is fraction, what kind of math? Divide. That means x divided by 7. So the opposite of divided by 7 is times 7. Whatever you do to one side, have to do to the other. Okay. To multiply fractions, how do we change this whole number to a fraction? Whole numbers, just put a 1 under it. 7 divided by 1 is 7. I have a 7 on top and 7 on bottom. Bye-bye. So I've canceled or reduced or simplified them, divided it by 7, they're gone. X equals 490, okay? Now, inequalities would just be different symbols. If I said x plus 7 is less than 10, when I'm done, instead of getting x equals 3, I'm getting x is less than 3. So they're telling me that x has to be 2, 1, 0, negative numbers. It could have been 2.9, 2.7, anything less than 3. Okay, it could be 2.99999. Okay, you guys couldn't see it. Okay, that's what inequalities are. Now, what they'll do once you understand algebra, they'll try to do algebra with angles and triangles. So, quick reminder, that's 90 degrees. So you know that's 90 degrees. So if I said this is angle A and this is angle B, and I said angle A is 50 degrees. And I said, well, what is angle B? Well, you know that A plus B equals 90, and A is 50. So you're just doing algebra. What's the opposite of plus 50? Minus 50. Whatever you do to one side, you got to do to the other. Cross it out. B equals 40 degrees. Don't forget the degrees. Okay. If that is 90 degrees, what's a straight line? Well, there's two 90-degree angles. So a straight line is 90 plus 90 is 180 degrees. So what they will sometimes do is say, here's a straight line. If that's A and that's B, and they say B equals 137 degrees. Okay, so you're going to say A plus B has to equal 180 degrees because it's a straight line. They told me that B is 137 and it's degrees. I didn't put the degrees in there. So I have to do opposite day minus 137 from both sides. A plus 137 minus 137. That disappears. I'm left with A equals, borrow, 10 minus 7 is 3, 7 minus 3 is 4. A equals 43 degrees. Okay, last one, triangle. Some of you may know this, some of you may not. I always like to show that if this is a rectangle, it has four 90-degree angles. So the interior angles of a rectangle has to equal 360 degrees. So how much is a triangle? If you cut a rectangle in half, a triangle, whether it's got 90 degrees or not, all triangles have to equal 180 degrees of interior angles. So if this is angle A, this is angle B, I said B is 30 degrees, okay? You know this is 90 because it's got that square. So A plus B equals 180. And they told you, oh, whoops, there's three of them. That one's not labeled. I made a mistake at the very bottom. Okay, so we'll call this angle C. A plus B plus C equals 180. They've told us the angle A we don't know, but angle B is 30, angle C is 90. So that's A plus 120 equals 180. So to solve, I have to subtract 120 from both sides. 180 minus 120 is going to be 60. Okay? So that's all the ways to try to get you with algebra. Algebra.